How's it going, YouTube? Coming to today with another video, and today, guys, the video is going to be the meta tier list post burst protocol. Now, this format is going to be a lot of fun. I'm definitely looking forward to playing some Dragon Link. I'm looking more so forward to when we get Dominus Spark and Blazing Dominion. I think that card is really strong, but that's also going to be really cool because you can pair it with Impulse and Imperm, so that's going to be a very fun format as well. But I'm getting a little bit of my drive back for the game and have been testing nonstop for Richmond, so definitely a lot to look over. I didn't want to make any videos until I really understood the new format and what the new cards can do. Obviously, I like to gather a lot of information and then put in so much research and time into these videos to make sure that they're as accurate as possible for you and you have a really good idea and a good look into the new format, and especially for those of you who just don't have the time, you know. So we're going to start off today's video with Tierlist. I do have this in Rogue. Obviously, the deck's struggling right now. I do think, though, that it's important to note that the new Fallen card is really good in this deck. It's, like, really good. And it opens up lines for things like Zombie Vamp. Not off the effect that you summon it from your hand, but it becomes, like, a normal summon even for the deck, which is really cool. It can allow for quite a few very interesting plays, being able to get to things like Cartesia, and then Cartesia fuse something out of your hand, and then go into something like Growing Dump, and then you have like a free 8 on your board, so it opens up like Vamp lines, right? So a lot of very cool ideas already for tier cooking up, and if you want to see those, definitely let me know down below in the comment section. But the deck is having a very rough time, right? So that's not really something that's all too surprising. Now, this is going to be like a bottom of tier 2 kind of thing, but RB has actually been having some results lately, which is pretty cool. The deck itself is all of half of a quarter, and if you want to pick up the deck, it's something that you can have a lot of fun with. It catches a lot of people off guard. A lot of people still don't know what the deck does, and it has a kill button very fast in the deck, which is kind of cool. This is something that you can definitely keep in mind. Not going to be the craziest deck of the format, but it's something that you can pick up and do pretty okay with. Any kind of yummy variant right now is going to be like somewhere in tier 2. There's like the K9 variant, which is cool. You could do like a Tri-Brigade variant. You could still try to do like a Mitsu variant. It won't really work out as well. Or you can do like the Mimigul cards, right? It still has potential. It just becomes an engine less than a deck now. And that's something that I would have to bump it lower on a tier list because of the fact that it's not really like a deck anymore. With one Snatchy, you can't play this deck pure. You just can't do it. And so now it's just like an engine, which makes it more like tier 2 to me than anything. If we're talking about any Mitsu variant, this shouldn't be a surprise to you, though. Mitsu is just tier 1 all day. Having one Habakiri doesn't change much. As long as you see the one Habakiri, you're still doing the same thing, right? So it never really mattered. You also don't even have to just see like the Haba. You can see a pre-prep, you can see a prayer, like you can go into the link 2 to search it, right? There's a lot of ways to be able to get the Habakiri still, and it's still going to be something that you see a lot of in the format. It's going to be very popular. The next one being Radiant Typhoon. This deck is actually really cool. I kind of wrote it off at the beginning of testing, but after testing a little bit more, the deck has a lot of very interesting cards like the Wind Spirit. That card being able to dodge things like Imperm is really important. It's also just a very broken card. Crocea, the card's nuts, right? The card is forcing people to play Mourner and Bell right now because it just enables so much advantage for the deck. So I think that Radiant has a lot of legs to stand on right now, and it's going to be something that you will play against, and you really need to learn how to play against it. Obviously, I'll be putting up Word Hand Trap soon. I just wanted to take a step away from posting content to really just focus on playing the game and learning more about the game. So I feel very confident going forward into Richmond right now. Just from my testing so far, I know what I'm playing for Richmond. I just have to work out my last bit of ratios. But the deck that I'm looking at right now is really cool. K9 Memento, the deck's still 1.5. It's just really not popular, which doesn't mean that it's like worse. It's just not being played. So 1.5 for Memento K9 I think is perfectly fine. The deck is still ridiculously good, and if you know what you're doing with it, then you're going to have a better time, right? So this is something to really keep in mind. VS is like a pure deck. I think that even with the K9 cards is still 1.5. The deck still works, right? The deck still does what the deck does, especially before Holy Sue, and like now we have one more You know, it's still at 1. You still have 1 Jokel. Like, the deck is still going to compete at a very high level, and you're still going to see it quite often. Now we're back to 3 and 3 of the cards that were hit anyways for Pure, so it doesn't really matter anymore, you know? I think that the deck is still going to be very much so around. Another deck that's going to be in Tier 2 is Mitsu Orchist. I think this deck is really cool. I think that it's going to be really good into the format. This is something that, again, nothing really changed. Again, you just have the 1 Habakiri, but that doesn't really alter too much. And it's going to be around. So that's something that you also want to pay attention to. Side note, too, I was talking to Peeps, and the Tistina tier deck with the new cards, like the new Toad level 10, is actually, like, kind of ridiculous, and I'm going to be excited to play that, too. I'm going to test it out quite a bit. DDD is tier 2. Deck is really strong. Deck does really well. I wouldn't put it higher than tier 2, though. Again, this is a deck that you have to play perfect. You have to play perfect. And if you don't, you're going to have a rough time. And that's something where the deck itself has so much technical play, you have to know what you're doing. The deck itself can do a lot. It can push through a lot, but you really have to know how to handle the deck. And that, to me, is a tier 2 deck. If the deck itself can't just, like, carry you to a W, it's going to be less powerful, right? Sometimes decks like VS can just carry you to a W, just because of the fact that the card quality is so high. But DDD is still a very strong contender, just not one of my favorite ones for this format. Now, Droll's at 2. Lunalight is still going to be tier 2, though. The deck itself is really strong, but I don't really know if it competes as high as the other decks right now, because people are just going to play 2 Droll in their main deck now regardless. A 2 of is not that much room to commit in your main deck, right? So that's something that we're going to see Droll even more now, I think, because some people were, like, siding it because it was, like, a 3 of to side. But now it's just, like, a 2 of. That's, like, a comfy number to just main, you know? So I think that it's going to be around more so than not. And I think that Lunarlight still has a really good spot of contention. I just don't think that it's going to be as strong as people want it to be. Still a contender, but not as strong as people want it to be. Top of 1.5, honestly, right now, still really good. Gem Knight. Does Gem Knight go second, break the board, and kill your opponent? Like, deck is still very strong. Deck is still very, very good. So that's something to really keep in mind. That's an extremely good pickup this format. Less people are going to be playing things like Lancia as well because Malice is out of the format. And that matters. Because now, especially with Lunalight, like, if people are just not blanket siding Lancia, you're in a really good spot. Now, I know that people still like Lancia right now, and it could still be around, but it's less popular, and that matters. Also, don't play on Aircraft. Don't do that. Don't do that. The deck is so bad. The deck is so bad. Do not play that deck. It's so bad. Middle tier 2 Striker. Again, it's become more of an engine lately than not, but we do have Camellia coming out, which is really cool in the legendary decks. So that's something that is really, really powerful for the deck. And I think with 2 Droll, you're going to have a really good time playing it. Still way less good than a lot of the other decks here, but about mid-tier 2 is where Striker will just stay for now. Dragon Link, it will probably end up being like somewhere around here as well for now when we start getting in the new cards. I think post Blazing Dominion, we'll start seeing it like top of tier 2, bottom of 1.5. Just because the addition of things like Spark for the deck is so important. The deck has so many weapons coming out and so many cards in the new set and then going forward that Dragon is starting to become a very real threat again, which we see this cycle very often. And I'm very excited to see this moving forward because that's a deck that I'm definitely eyeballing playing soon. The Diabellstar White Forest control deck with like Vingoff's Blessing and what have you. It's a rogue deck. It's around, and it's done like kind of okay. But I mean, it's around. It's something that you might see. I think that it's very interesting, to say the least. It's very interesting. But it's around. Branded, it's probably going to be like more like branded Draco Tail, which we can put both of these up here. I think that like branded by itself is like 1.5. But if you're talking about like branded Draco Tail, it's going to be tier 1. This also includes the Magistus variant, and you can do all 3 in one deck, and that deck is actually insane as well. So it's going to be up in tier 1 with this deck. I think that the card quality on these two new cards, the Fallen main deck and then the extra deck monster, are some of the most ridiculous cards I've read in a very long time. So that is something that you definitely want to make sure that you are aware of what these cards do for the event. You want to be on the lookout for where to hand trap, because when that video comes out, that's going to be like the ultimate study guide for this event. I've been playing non-stop hours into this format. You want to watch that video. It's coming soon, so make sure that you are prepared for that. Cool tune, I mean, it's Rogue. It's Rogue. People argue, but deck's just terrible. It's Rogue. It'll get a win here and there, but like the deck is just so awkward. It's just not. It's not there. Blue Eyes. I think the deck's very cool. I'd probably put it in Rogue. I think this deck with 2 draw, obviously a little boost, but nothing's really changed for the deck. And it's still going to have a really hard time competing with some of these other decks coming out right now because they're just like so ridiculously good. And again, a lot of tier lists come down to what the card quality is. And card quality of Blue Eyes cards are worse than branded Draco Tail cards, right? It just is what it is. Now, one thing I do want to mention though is the For Hire deck is like top of tier 2. New cards are very strong. And less people are playing Lancia, and there's 2 Droll. So the Rinnet cards are pretty good. And people are not playing Malice anymore, so the reason to not play Runic is not there. And Runic for Hire is going to be a very strong deck again, and this is something that if you do want to pick up something cheap that's going to do you fairly well, this is the deck to do it with. I think that this is going to be like the sleeper pick of the format, something that you can definitely go ahead and do fairly well with right now. Odeon, be somewhere in tier 2. I don't think that that's something that's like shocking, right? Deck's been doing pretty okay. It's like Primite Odeon. It's pretty good. K9 Power Patron. I would say bottom of tier 1.5. Deck's pretty okay. Art Mage with new cards. I think the deck's pretty okay. I think that the deck can do enough of what it wants to right now to where we'll end up seeing this quite often, and it'll be in top cut set events. So make sure that you are familiar with this deck and what it can do, especially with the new cards, because the new support is going to be nonstop. It's going to keep coming. So make sure that you stay up to date on what this deck can do. Kishron, the top tier 2, might be under For Hire, to be honest. I really like this deck right now. I think that it's really strong. Kishron, nothing's really changed with the deck, especially with the inclusion back to 3. Doesn't really change anything. The deck could combo with 1. It didn't really matter. That didn't really hurt the deck at all. That was like a weird hit in the first place. So having 3 doesn't really like, yeah, like whatever. Sure. The deck's going to be playable. 1 Jokal hurts. It hurts really bad. Because you were already playing 3 Chaotic Element and 3 Case, right? To be able to see Jokal. Now there's 1 Case, 1 Jokal, and 3 Chaotic. So we'll probably start seeing things like Small World in that deck, I'm sure. Low-key, another deck that I think is going to be really strong is going to be the Sword Soul Fallen variant. This is ridiculously good. I've been seeing people do this a lot. You go like Fallen, dump Mirror Jade, normal summon Taya, banish the Mirror Jade, summon a token, combo. Oh my god. It looks so cool. This is a deck that I definitely want to see do well. And I really don't like Sword Soul, but I think that that's a very, very cool deck and something that we'll see quite often moving forward. Now, I don't really understand the hype of this deck. Elven Note Fiendsmith, I think this deck is, like, not good. I think this deck is, like, not good at all. I could be proven wrong. From what I've seen so far and what I've played against, it is not that good. It is not that good. I would play any of these decks before I played this. 100%. And I think that there are so many better ideas out there than playing Elven Note. I think that is just like so egregiously mid. But I don't know, prove me wrong, right? Maybe I am wrong about that, but we'll have to wait and see. I hope that you all enjoyed today's video. Definitely let me know down below in the comment section what you think about this meta tier list. I'll catch you all on the next video. Thank you.